I'm heading to the airport, but not because I'm getting on a flight, but because I'm picking up a guest YouTuber and I'm excited for it. A wee little drive-in, we're at the airport, gonna pick up this collaborator. Collaborator sounds like, yeah, like a revolutionary, but just another YouTuber that I'm super excited and, to be honest, a little bit nervous to meet. His flight's supposed to land in about 5-10 minutes, so. So I got Morton, and what is that, a 1DX?
Yeah.
I come to the airport and I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be intimidating. I've got the big camera, the microphone. He shows up with this rig, the 1DX, the big Rode mic. Yeah, so Morton is here. He's an amazing wildlife photographer. If you don't know his stuff, go check out his YouTube channel. There's a link somewhere up here. And then this is Pegasus.
Hey!
And we're gonna load all of Morton's gear onto Pegasus. I'm gonna drive him to his Airbnb, and then we're gonna cruise down to the port, and I think we're gonna do a Q&A today. So I stole Morton's footage from the quad ride. It's fun having somebody on the back there filming because I never shoot footage of myself when driving. We picked up Jody magically as well, so Jody's here, and we're just gonna head down to the port and Q&A Morton. I asked the group, the Facebook group, and if you're not following that Facebook group, go and check it out. I asked them for some questions, and we're gonna talk about those questions when we get there. But yeah, a little wander through Old Town to the port. It turns out Morton's a bad influence on Jody because Jody's like, I want ice cream, and Morton's like, I want ice cream too. So now instead of being down at the port filming, they're choosing between Kinder Bueno and mint ice cream. No offense to Morton, who's also eating ice cream, but I think Jody makes the better B-roll ice cream eater.
I can just hold you ice cream when you're filming.
I'm not eating ice cream because I'm sugar-free. That's my diet, sugar-free except for on Fridays. So these guys are just rubbing this in my face, eating all the ice cream in Crete. Because these guys are smashing down ice cream, we're a little bit late getting to the port. So I'm gonna ask Morton 2 Q&A questions myself, and then we'll get to your questions. The first question is, do you have a job aside from photography?
No.
100% photography.
Yeah, photography is like more for me than just making pictures. It's also about, you know, getting the message out. I mean, like, with exhibitions and lectures and stuff like that. I reckon that's under photography as well.
Yeah, I think that it's something I used to talk about with the Income Octopus. Photographers never just make their money from their photos. They always make their photography from teaching photography or giving lectures or having exhibitions or galleries and things like that. There's always other ways, and most successful photographers, they have multiple streams of income. I don't think any photographer in this modern era just makes their income just from their photos.
No.
Second question that I already forgot. Have you ever taken a long exposure photo?
Yeah, so when I have to photograph stars.
Yeah.
Like after, last time I was in Norway photographing muskoxen, when the big light is turned off, I'm left with the, you know, the darkness, and then sometimes with the northern light, and also a little, you know, when moving water, but yeah, it's definitely something I do all the time.
Okay, we're gonna, by the end of this trip, get Morton to do a long exposure selfie. I promise you. I can see the port of that way as Morton questions what the hell a long exposure selfie is. I can see the port, we're almost there. We're gonna take him out onto the breakwater a little bit and then we'll get to your questions. Okay, so we're kind of going to be shouting at the camera a little bit because we're a little bit far away from it, but we wanted like this beautiful scene behind us and it just works. The questions are coming from the Facebook group, and the hilarious thing is the exact same thing happened when I did the video with Thomas Heaton, in that I asked for you guys to do video comments or video questions, and nobody did it. Nobody did it. Read instructions. Anyways, we'll get to the first question. So first one from Adam Russell, aka Wadget Catcher.
More question for Morton. Are you finding that climate change is actually making it easier or harder to photograph wild animals in sort of the Arctic conditions?
That's a really good question. At first it might get easier because things like polar bear might get closer to the towns. There are more observation of polar bears because they are forced to get closer to the towns because the ice edge is not so far away. So you might see more polar bears and get the impression that there are more polar bears. But that's just not true. So first it gets easier, but then when all the animals, or some of the animals, start to disappear, it'll get harder.
Do you think any of the wildlife will start going into the towns because they're desperate?
Yeah, I think that's like you can just see if we have like in Denmark, if we have an ice winter, you can basically photograph some of the very, very shy birds and mammals because they're so desperate to get food or water.
Hey Brendan, I'd like for you to ask Morton if he's ever been to the States and done any wildlife photography, like in Yellowstone or Grand Tetons, someplace like that.
So the question from Michael Orsbin is, has Morton ever been to the US to photograph the wildlife?
No, unfortunately not. I have only been in just when I returned from the special unit in the military, the Sirius patrol. I went to photograph a wedding for one of my
a different
colleagues.
Kind of wildlife.
Yeah, so that was all the wildlife I got.
Yeah.
But I would really, really like to
Where
go.
do you want to go?
But like everywhere.
What animal or part of the wildlife in North America do you think you want to shoot most?
I would really, really like to photograph the bison in the winter. Yeah. And of course the grizzlies and the wolves. Like the wolves are my number one. Like I would give everything to be able to observe wolves in the wild.
So you just need to come to my hometown, because in my hometown there's actually bison just outside of town.
Yeah, now I have it on camera.
I took Jody there. And Jody doesn't believe there's bears in Canada, but when I go to Canada, when I'm home, we see bears all the time. Grizzly bears. I used to go for my morning jog in Jasper National Park, bears all the time. It was kind of scary, but they're there. And the wolves. One time, winter conditions on the Icefields Parkway, and there was this beautiful gray wolf right on the road. I got lots of shots of it.
Thanks for telling me.
Rubbing that in. But yeah, come to Canada sometime. I'll show you.
Definitely.
The next question from our boy Greg Snell. Greg, do some work. Stop asking questions.
Hello, Mr. BBS and Morten Hilmer. Wondering if you guys have ever done any underwater filming, and if so, where and what was it?
I have made a few clicks with a GoPro. That's it. But I would like to.
Here's the thing about underwater wildlife photography. It's expensive. When you're underwater, you lose so much light that you need like lights on the side of the cameras, you need underwater housing, and you should probably have good gear. It's expensive, and as a travel photographer, I can't haul that gear around with me all the time, and two, it's expensive. But I want somebody to like lend me their gear just once so I can go do it.
And I think it's really, really challenging. Like I think like for me, I'm tempted to do all kind of photography, but if I have to like concentrate on, like now it's conservation photography, wildlife. I think if I had to go into underwater photography, it will take so much time before you actually get to the level where it's getting interesting.
I also think that it opens like a whole new can of worms, because the underwater is scary because there's so much under there and I don't understand any of it. So it just opens a new can of worms with the photography. I think it can be addicting as well, so I don't want to get into it. Since nobody answered in video form, I think we have one more time for a question. Oh, so the question is from Vera about his video, about Morton's video, Wolf and Bears 2. How many hours of video did you condense into 16 minutes and 46 seconds?
Way too much.
Way too much?
Yes, because this whole video YouTube thing is so new to me. So I just make way too much. Ending up with like so much footage that I have to go through. But I mean, for now, until I get a little better to actually record, I just need to shoot on everything. So a lot.
That's actually the first video of his I ever watched. And if you haven't checked out Morton's channel, go check it out right now. Wildlife photography out in hides and out in nature. It's awesome, it's good times. And Morton's here for like 4 days. So I'm gonna make Morton do some landscape photography. I'm gonna make Morton do a long exposure selfie, hopefully. And I think I even wanna try to maybe do some mobile photography just to see if we can do it.
I'm ready for everything.
So yeah, I guess we're gonna pack up and go get some dinner. Thanks for answering the questions.
You're welcome.
How's the food?
It's really good. I'm so full. I forgot there was a last dish, but I'm going to fight through it.
Welcome to Crete.
Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That was fun. I knew I was gonna like Morton yesterday. Finally, we corresponded so long on on emails and stuff like that, and I knew I was gonna like him finally yesterday, because yesterday he sent me an email saying, I'm arriving tomorrow, I don't have a place to stay, where should I stay, or even better, is there a place for me to put up my tent? And that's just me. I'm the type of guy that lives in a tent. So yeah, that was funny, and he's a really good guy, really nice guy, refreshing, and I think we're gonna have some fun. He's here, he's a wildlife photographer, and I'm gonna try to push him out of his wildlife photography box for a bit. And I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow.